fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Warrior Class Optimus Prime from the Transformers Earthspark line from Hasbro. So very much in keeping with their plastic-free packaging initiative, you can see the figure is just kind of tied to this piece of cardboard. Very, very open style packaging. Some nice artwork of Prime here on the back. And then you have a little picture of him showcasing the axe gimmick down here. Over here we have kind of like a standard group shot. It says Warrior Class here on the side. And over on this side, it just says plastic-free packaging in several different languages. Not too much going on the bottom. And then over here on the back, we have some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Optimus out of the packaging, and I think for the most part, it's a pretty solid little robot mode. He's got a little bit of kibble here with this backpack, but it does compress pretty nicely there onto the back, and doesn't really get in the way of any articulation or anything. I think the head sculpt is pretty good, definitely very stylized. He's got a giant faceplate, but some really nice silver paint there on the face and nice blue paint for the eyes. Head can swivel from side to side, but it doesn't have any other movement, no front to back. I mean, technically this little plate that it's on can rock a little bit, but that's not really articulation. He's got a ball joint here in the shoulder, so you can go all the way around, as well as out to the side. You have a ball joint in the elbow. The forearm and the wrist are all one solid piece, so no movement there. He does have waist swivel. He's got a pretty excellent hip joint here. You can kick all the way out to the front, all the way out to the back, all the way out to the side. And that is a ball joint, so there's no thigh movement. He does have a ball joint here in the knee as well. So that's kind of your thigh and knee all in one. And then he does have some heels, which give him excellent standability. But nothing, no ankle rocker or anything like that. Now, unfortunately, he does not come with his iconic blaster, but he does have this little gimmick here on the forearm with this axe, and you just unpeg this here. It does peg pretty securely into the forearm, and then this flips around, and then this piece here flips around to form the axe. I think this is pretty successful, honestly, as far as the gimmick goes. It doesn't get in the way of articulation at all. It's not spring-loaded. It doesn't force him into any weird poses. He still has all the same posability in this arm as he does the other one without the axe. And it still has a regular fist, so unlike Elita 1, it doesn't really take the place of anything. And when you want to close it up, it stores very securely on the bottom of the forearm. Doesn't really get in the way of anything and actually kind of blends in fairly nicely. So I think it's pretty successful as a gimmick. I actually like it quite a bit. Here is Elita 1 just for a size comparison. You can see that they are about the same size. And then if we zoom out here a little bit more, here is a current deluxe. This is clamped down from the Speedia 500 collection, but you can see that they're all pretty much the same size. So the Warrior class do scale very well with current deluxes. And these two look pretty cool together. Her gimmick, you know, it's alright, but I think his is definitely more successful. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid little robot mode. You have some nice paint applications, some silver here on the shins, silver for the fists. You have all this blue here for the windows that wraps all the way around. A little bit of silver here on the abdomen. Mine has a little bit of a paint flub. You can kind of see it right there, but honestly, just kind of looking straight at it, you don't see it too bad. But it looks like maybe a little bit wore off there. But for the most part, I think it's a pretty successful little robot mode. Some nice paint back here as well for the grill, which is going to be more apparent in vehicle mode. But yeah, nice paint applications, good articulation. I really don't feel like he suffers from... I mean, an ankle tilt, of course, would be nice. And I feel like they probably could have put one in. But you can see it's all hollow here on the back. And again, that's just because this is a little bit more of a budget toy at a smaller price point. But honestly, pretty solid. Until they do a Deluxe Prime, I think this is a pretty good stand-in. Let's go ahead and let's get the transformation. So this is actually fairly intricate, and when we get to pegging the arms in, it's a lot of tabs that need to line up. I had a little bit of difficulty at first, but I feel like the more you do it, the more things will start to go where they're meant to go. So we can start by just flipping up the heels into the feet like so, and then you can peg the two legs together like that. We're going to come around to the back, and this entire section is going to unpeg and just kind of sit down here for a minute. We are going to spin the robot head 180 degrees, And then this whole panel that it's on will rotate around so that the head can go down into this cavity right here. So flip that around, and you might need to give it a little bit of force to get this to click up into place so that this is all flush right there. Then this is the interesting part. So we're going to turn at the midsection here, not the waist swivel that we showed earlier. This section is really not accessible when the backpack is attached, but you need it for the transformation here. So you kind of want to start to bring these up. Now, just like every other Optimus Prime toy you've ever transformed in your life, the shoulders are going to go back and fill in the sides. So you're going to flip this panel up. Now, how this works is these are the two pegs that were holding this front section on the back. They are going to notch into these little notches here in the gray kind of bicep area, while at the same time there are these little tabs underneath here that need to go into the top of the forearm right above the wrist. So you have to get that all to go into place, while at the same time this notch is going to fit into his kneecap. So it's a lot of things that all need to line up at the same time. And for whatever reason, when I was first transforming this, they did not want to notch in here. And I think it might just be one of those things where over time, it's going to hold a lot better. And once you get it done, it's very solid. But it's just getting everything into place. So now we have to bring this around. And then this is also kind of in the way a lot. So this has to come around and peg in there, and then also there's a tab and a tab slot here on the thigh, so that has to tab in, and then also you're going to tab this in there. So as you can see, everything's actually kind of snapping in place now, because what I did was I had it transformed and I let it sit for a little bit, and it's very solid once it's done. So letting it sit for a little bit kind of trained everything to go where it's supposed to go. So you might have to do that once or twice. This side's a little bit harder to peg in because this axe piece here, it's kind of difficult to grab a hold of and get it to peg in, especially this piece underneath here. But I promise it can be done. So let's move this, click that in, and a lot of the joints are very tight as well. So we're going to rotate this and get this to click up under here. And like I said, it's just kind of hard to grab a hold of this to get this to go where you need it to go. So we'll pop this in here. Make sure that's in. And then try to push this up. There we go. And then once we do that, this section will kind of just naturally pop up and hold everything really nice and snugly together. So, I mean, then you have, again, you have this here, which clips onto the thigh. I can't tell if that's in. These ones are not as important, honestly. But between these clips, these clips, these clips, and these clips, and then this, it should hold together pretty solidly when you are done. But there is Optimus Prime's vehicle mode. Rolls pretty well. Obviously, he doesn't have a trailer, but I think it's a fun little truck, and I think it's kind of neat how he's not a flatbed truck. He's got this kind of nose section here. I think it works pretty well, and I think it works having the axe kind of just become this panel of the truck, whereas you have this panel on this side. Integrates fairly well. And again, these are kind of really like just cheap plastic wheels, and obviously this section's very hollow, but it's doing what it needs to do. Yeah, pretty good. Honestly, I think Warrior Class Prime is a pretty fun little toy, especially at the $14.99 price point. I think it's got good articulation. It looks pretty good. Nice paint applications. The little axe accessory really doesn't bother me at all. I think it actually kind of works. I like the way that when it's folded up, it kind of stores seamlessly here on the forearm. Doesn't really get in the way. It's not gaudy or spring-loaded or anything like that. It doesn't impair the robot mode at all. I mean, yeah, I would love an ankle tilt, but that's really not that big of a deal, especially for kind of a more budget figure. I think it's pretty successful. I really actually like it quite a bit. I'm looking forward to the Deluxe Prime they're going to do in Wave 2. But until then, I feel like this guy's a perfectly suitable stand-in and scales well with other Deluxe class figures. And overall, it's a fun little transformation and it looks pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.